Hello YouTube, welcome back. Chris here. Today I'm going to do another Let's Fix a Bike. Today we're working on this Surly Karate Monkey. This was brought in for a tune-up, but the customer also stated that the crankset is loose. This is an older Truvative Noir, I believe it's pronounced, carbon crankset. It's an old school triple. And on the non-drive side is where you tighten this crankset. And you can see it has a little bit of play. Now, the customer just asked me to tighten up their cranks. Unfortunately, that's not what the problem is, and I'm going to show you what the real problem is here and why this is actually a damaged part. So let's get into it. Okay, so I've spun the bike around in the work stand here so I can access my non-drive side bolt easier. I'm going to take my 8mm Allen wrench, go to the inside bolt here, and yes, it didn't take a lot of effort to take this off because I already did remove it, but put it back on gently so I can make a video for this. But here we've removed the crank arm. So I'm going to go ahead and take the whole crankset out here and show you what the problem is. Okay, so here I've got the crankset off. And I'm going to put it together here and show you what the problem is. So when I tighten this up, there's still movement in that non-drive side crank arm. So let me take this off again and I'll show you what's moving. Now this is not something specific to SRAM. It is an issue. This crank is broken. I have seen this on FSA carbon cranks as well. I've seen it on other SRAM cranks as well. So this is something that you may encounter on older carbon cranks. The way this works is you have a carbon crank arm and you have an aluminum piece here, an aluminum splined piece bonded in to the carbon. And if I get real close, you can probably see it's actually cracking here. So the aluminum, let's see if I can get a retaining ring pliers in there and wiggle it. This aluminum fitting is actually coming loose in the bonded carbon. So no matter how much you tighten this crank down, it's still going to have that play because these pieces are not fitting, not attached anymore, they're broken. You see that gap right there? That's what we're looking for. So, anyway, this needs to be replaced. Now, this is an older bike, obviously. You can tell by the generation of the crankset. This is a customer's backup bike, so it's just kind of an extra bike. He keeps it at his home, away from home. And so we are not going to replace the whole crankset. He didn't want to have to go through and do a whole new drivetrain since he's got 9-speed on this bike. It's a 9-speed triple. Didn't want to change that many parts. We were able to just source a newer SRAM X5 crank arm. Now it does not match by any means. It's aluminum, not carbon, but it will be good enough. The Q factor is similar enough. The Q factor is how it relates from the spindle to the bottom bracket. It's not going to match, it's not going to look pretty, but it will serve the purpose. And just so you know, all GXP spline cranks, they all share the same spline. So anything that's labeled GXP is going to share the same spline, and you don't have to worry about, even though this one's probably from 2010, this one's from 2020, they will work together just fine. So we're going to go ahead and put this new arm on and get this bike buttoned up and ready to go. Okay, so now I'm going to start reassembling this. I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the inside of the non-drive side here. And I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the drive side spindle. And I'm just going to slide my crankset through. It is a good idea to use a torque wrench with these. This is a GXP bottom brackets, a 54 Newton meter torque spec. There we go. A little bit of grease on my pedal spindle. And we're all fixed. So not the prettiest repair, but it is rideable again, and avoids having to change out a crankset, shifter, front derailleur, chain, everything on a bike that I don't want to put a lot of money into. So that's all for this time. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this, please like and subscribe. I'm going to make some more.